Hey guys, what's up? Hope you're making the best of this crappy coronavirus. I know it's been a hot minute since I filmed anything, but here's a quick 30-second clip of me getting pulled over about 4 days ago. I want to discuss it. It's very interesting to say the least. So watch this clip and I'll catch you on the flip.
Bring me back to where we started.
Pulled over for no reason.
How you doing, man?
Hey,
Reason for travel?
work?
Where you work? What? You have your papers that show you're going to work? Are you in uniform?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Have a good night.
You too. This guy just pulled me over for no reason.
So it's pretty quick and uninteresting to some, but for the freedom-loving citizen who really wants to dissect this clip, there are some interesting things to note during these unprecedented times dealing with coronavirus. So the first 10 seconds of the video.
Pulled over for no reason.
How you doing, man?
Hey,
Okay, so what you notice first, the officer, he says, "How's it going?" Or he says, "How's it going, man?" And he spoke, you know, cool and collected, and he didn't come off as like a dick or anything, which I appreciated. But then he says,
Reason for travel?
okay, now this caught me off guard for a few reasons. You know, number one, does he not want to identify himself to me? I never get pulled over much, so I don't know how it works or how it's supposed to work, but this literally happened at the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. I never got to find out who he was. Was he from Ohio? Was he from Pennsylvania? Was he a state or was he a local cop? Does he not want my ID so he knows who I am? No, because he knows I've done nothing wrong. So it feels pretty random to me at this point. I didn't commit any traffic violations. There was no reason for him to really pull me over. But then again, coronavirus is happening. I don't know how much they're supposed to be checking everybody. So I did a little research and I had some questions to raise. So this is why I'm making this video. First, I thought to myself, what if I was a felon or had some warrants? Maybe I was on my way to murder my ex-girlfriend. Guess he didn't know all was well, right? So if you're gonna pull me over, why aren't you doing it the whole way and checking me out, you know? I wasn't breaking any traffic laws, so why did he stop me? So I took the liberty of writing down, straight from the PA.gov website, reasons for essential travel. And here they are, written down, shortened for the vlog's sake, of course. So reasons for necessary travel in Pennsylvania. Now note, I don't technically know if this cop was from Ohio or Pennsylvania. Right at the state line, turned off onto a side road, was in Pennsylvania, so I'm gonna assume for this that this cop was from Pennsylvania, thinking that an Ohio cop wouldn't travel into the other state to pull somebody over, but who knows, I don't know. So here's the list, very quickly. Tasks to maintain health and safety, getting necessary services or supplies or delivering them, outdoor activity, walking, hiking, running, essential work, to care for a family member or pet in another household, travel to anything I just mentioned above, travel to and from educational institutions, travel to residents from outside jurisdictions, travel required by law or court order, travel required for non-residents to return to home outside of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So having read those, you know, in the video you also will notice he says, do you have your papers that say you're going to work?
You have your papers that show you're going to work?
Well, the number one thing that caught my attention on the PA.gov website, and if you don't believe me, go check it yourself, is it says specifically on that website, anyone performing life-sustaining travel does not need paperwork to prove reason for travel. Does not need paperwork to prove reason for travel. Does not need paperwork. So, having said that, why is this cat asking me for documentation? Now here's what's funny. I did have documentation. My work provided me with a letter, and I bleeped out my work on video, as you see. That's why there's a few spots where it's blanked out, because I don't want everybody knowing where I work. But I do work in a hospital. I'm dealing with the patients on the front lines. I've been exposed to multiple COVID positive patients already. For him to ask me for this paper is something that maybe they were told to do, but it says right on the state website that they are not to be asking for that. So why are they asking for that? That's something I would like you guys to comment in the comment section below. As a quick disclaimer, I am pro police. I respect the thin blue line. I have flesh and blood that are police officers. I have many friends that are police officers. This isn't a video that's supposed to be like what you would Google or YouTube typically and see everybody trying their best to bash police. That's not me, but because these are unprecedented times, it's interesting. I just want to get the conversation out there. Was this a rightful stop or was this a wrongful stop? I've had many opinions. I put this on my Instagram first. If you want to follow me there, I'll put it right here on the screen. It's MOOCH8786. And I got a lot of responses and it varied. And that's why I thought it would be cool to make this YouTube video in the first place. I'm not here to bash police officers. I respect what they do. If someone intrudes into your home and you call them, they're going to come to your house, not know who you are, and they will get in a literal gunfight in your front yard to save your life, the life of a complete stranger. And I salute everybody for that. Thank you for risking your lives. The thing that bothers me about this is, as I was driving, coming down the main road, about 3 miles ahead of me, I could see his lights flashing, very straight road. So I knew he had somebody pulled over already. Now, as soon as I got to the spot where I was turning onto the road where he pulled me over, coincidentally, it just happened to be that the person he originally pulled over was pulling off. So as I was turning left onto my road, he did a U-E right in the middle of the big road, on like the main 4-lane highway, and did a U-E right in the middle of it and came and chased me down, made a U-turn and boom, quick right. And I knew automatically, it's 1 in the morning, he's gonna check me to see where I'm going. Now, me working in a hospital, if you guys ever, this is a metaphor I like to use. If you guys ever seen the show Chernobyl or know about Chernobyl, but if you've never seen the show, it's great, so go check it out on HBO. Everybody knows when that plant exploded, the amount of radiation at the plant is greatest, and the farther away you get from it, the better. Well, right now, metaphorically speaking, hospitals are Chernobyls. The COVID patients are there, we're with them every day. We are at a higher susceptibility to getting the virus because we work with it directly. I have to put on this hood with this big old tube, and it's the whole thing. So it's dangerous, if you will. So when this officer pulls me over, now if you pay attention to the clip closely, you'll see when he comes to my window, he's not 6 feet away. There's no social distancing. So here's what comes to mind from a safety perspective. He's pulling me over to check me to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But in doing that, he put himself at risk because he was within 6 feet of me. His face was literally 2 to 3 feet away from mine. He wasn't wearing a mask. Now, if these officers, whoever his sergeant or boss is, has him conducting business, you know you're going to get in people's personal spaces. You should be wearing a mask for your safety. So he pulls me over. He asks me for the papers that the government says I don't need, but my hospital was gracious enough to give us one. And then just disappears after he shines his light down, sees that I'm wearing scrubs, and then what he actually did, which you don't see his face on camera, is he saw I was recording him, and then he dipped. So, did he see the camera and got weird because he was thinking to himself, oh, I'm not supposed to be pulling him over? I don't know. And that's fine, he wants to pull me over. I mean, I'm not grudgy against the fact. I just felt like, you're trying to enforce these things to make people safe, but I'm on my way into work to deal with it directly. You just pulled somebody else over. The person you pulled over might have it. He might have gave it to you. You might have gave it to me. Or I might have gave it to him. I don't have symptoms yet, but I deal with it almost every day. So for the next 5 days, I have to pay attention on whether or not I get a fever and I start feeling sick. And if I do, there will be a list of people that I have to inform that I was around you. And guess what? He's on the list. So now I have to track down what department he works for so I can go there or call there and say, hey, this guy was exposed to me and now he's unsafe and he's going to give it to his family, which is not safe. So if you're going to pull people over, make sure you're doing it appropriately. Was it appropriate? Comment below. Those are the questions I have. Was he doing what he was supposed to do? I'm not mad at the process, but the other thing that comes to mind is, It's a state order, you know. Now, is order different than law? In this country, our great country, there's a legislative process. There's arguments between Congress, whether it's state legislature or federal. You got, House of Representatives and Senate, and they create the law. Executive branch passes the law, it becomes law. In the state legislature, you got all the PA state representatives. They should come up with the ideas and decide, and then it's debated and passed. Am I right? I don't know. I'm not a historian, but that's kind of loosely how things go, is it not? So, having said that, the governor's stay-at-home order, is that different than a law? Because nothing was voted on in a monarch type of scenario, which the governor isn't a monarch. It's just like passing down rules like he's the king. The way I perceive them is they're strong recommendations. When you pull me over, and I have this whole list of essential travel that I'm allowed to do, why is a police officer allowed to pull me over just to check that I'm doing one of these essential things? Now, if this was pre-COVID, if it wasn't this order, I could be driving down the street, with 10 pounds of heroin in my car. That's illegal too. But guess what? The officer can't pull you over just because he feels like it. You have to be committing a crime. Now, is it a crime to be traveling? I don't believe so. From what I read, and you can check out pa.gov, is that they are emphasizing that these police officers enforce these rules on businesses, mostly for people to make sure they're not operating and trying to make money whenever they're considered non-essential and they are supposed to be staying home. For the general public, it's supposed to be one of those things where, they just teach us and tell us, hey, you need to go home. Which is fine, that's what he wanted to do, but I don't see why, just because of the time of night, that he can assume that I'm not doing something essential and pull me over. Because I'm driving around all day during the daylight hours and nobody's pulling me over. And there's all these other vehicles on the road and I don't see any of them being pulled over. Everybody knows bad things happen at night. And I feel like him pulling me over was just him sniffing for something else. Granted, that's good. Get criminals off the street. I like that. But I didn't have a taillight out. I wasn't speeding. He just literally, boom, checks, pieces out. The entire clip is 30 seconds. He didn't know my name, I didn't know his. He's flashing his light at my pajamas, my scrubs, which are basically pajamas. I mean, it's a whole thing. So, I just feel like this is worth the comment section. I really want everybody who sees this to comment. Let me know what you think, especially police officers, Like I said, I respect you guys, but was this correct? I mean, are we supposed to just be randomly checking people, or is this America and we're free? I know Walmart's closed at night, and that's not a good excuse, but this list of things, if Aunt Becky's sick, if Grandma Nancy is dying, if your dog needs some medicine that your friend has and you can deliver it, I'm allowed to. So why am I being stopped? Why am I being impeded to complete that process? Let me know in the comments. Sorry the clip was very short. I was anxious as I was pulled over. That's just how I get. I would have elaborated more during the actual pull over. Almost had the courage to say, why are you stopping me? But I just wanted to be respectful to the officer. Now after the fact, it's been bugging me. I just kind of feel like it wasn't right. One of my police buddies actually disagrees with me, and that's fine. But I feel like a lot of you may agree. I got very mixed reviews on my Instagram story, so now I want to bring it to YouTube. Hopefully it gets some traction and you guys can really tell me how you feel and what you think is right here in this particular scenario. So with that being said, thanks for watching this quick video on Mooch Life. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my channel. I do a lot of things with Chevrolet. Got my baby right here wrapped in the shot green. If you like Silverados and Camaros, I do a little bit of hunting stuff, a little bit of family stuff, a little bit of car and truck stuff. Subscribe to my channel and we'll see you later. Peace.
Bring me